To win against tyranny, greater unity is needed, Volodymyr Zelensky has said in his nightly address. In his latest update, the Ukrainian leader said he had taken part in the Global Summit for Democracy at the invitation of President Joe Biden. He said in almost all the leaders' speeches at the summit, there were apt words of support for our country and our people. But to win against tyranny, greater unity is needed. I am sure that the democratic world is capable of achieving it. It is capable of winning, he said. Mr. Zelensky went on to say that democracy needed victory and as soon as possible. Rafael Grossi, head of the International Atomic Energy Agency, had been pushing for a demilitarized zone at the Russian-held power station, Europe's largest nuclear facility, which has come under repeated shelling. But today, Mr. Grossi told Russian reporters that the situation was not improving. He said he shifted the emphasis of his efforts to enacting specific protection measures acceptable to both sides. I think what is important is to make sure there are no attacks. I am trying to put on the table realistic, viable proposals that can be accepted by all, he said. Mr. Grossi said it was no secret there had been a significant increase in the number of troops in the region. It is obvious that military activity is increasing in this whole region. So the plant can't be protected, he said. On Monday, Mr. Grossi also met President Volodymyr Zelensky, who has consistently accused Russia of staging attacks in and around the plant as part of nuclear blackmail. Poland wants the EU to use all tools at its disposal to limit the amount of Ukrainian grain entering the EU market, the Prime Minister has said. Ukraine, one of the world's largest grain exporters, had its Black Sea ports blocked following Russia's February 2022 invasion, and it found alternative shipping routes through EU states Poland and Romania. Logistical bottlenecks mean large quantities of Ukrainian grains, which are cheaper than those produced in the EU, have ended up in Central European states, hurting prices and sales of local farmers. Now, Poland is asking the European Commission to employ a protective clause regarding grain imports to Poland from Ukraine. We demand the use of all regulatory instruments, quotas, tariffs, which will limit or block the import of Ukrainian grain into Poland, Mateusz Morawiecki told a news conference. In Frontline, Ukraine's military claims to have repelled more than 60 Russian attacks in 4 areas on March 29. Russian forces are concentrating on conducting offensives toward Lyman, Bakhmut, Avdiivka, and Marinka in Donetsk Oblast, according to the General Staff. Bilohorivka, Bakhmut, Avdiivka, Marinka, and their outskirts remain the epicenter of the fighting. Over the past 24 hours, Russia launched 5 missiles, 25 airstrikes, and 34 MLRS attacks against Ukraine. As a result of a Russian airstrike on the cities of Berislav in Kherson Oblast and Druzhkivka in Donetsk Oblast, civilians were injured, and homes and civil infrastructure were damaged. The Ukrainian Air Force conducted 5 strikes against Russian temporary bases, and Ukrainian air defense units destroyed a Russian Sukhoi Su-24 bomber, according to the briefing. Ukraine's rocket and artillery forces struck 3 concentration areas of Russian troops, weapons and military equipment, an anti-aircraft missile system, an ammunition depot, and 2 Russian fuel warehouses, the General Staff said. Besides, the Ukrainian troops have been carrying out military training near the front line in the Zaporizhia region, in southeast Ukraine. In October last year, Vladimir Putin signed laws absorbing 4 Ukrainian regions, including Zaporizhia, into Russia. It followed the so-called referenda in Donetsk, Luhansk, Kherson, and Zaporizhia, rejected as a sham by Ukraine and the West. The areas annexed are not under the full control of Russian forces. Spain will send 6 German-made Leopard tanks to Ukraine after Easter, the country's defense minister Margarita Robles has said. Speaking to politicians today, Ms. Robles said the country had just repaired the fighting vehicles that have not been used since the 1990s, and testing their combat readiness before shipping them. By sending the Leopards, we will continue to help the Ukrainian people to defend themselves against an absolutely unjust attack, she said. The German-made 2 A4 Leopard tanks will be sent to Ukraine after April 9.